Random readings for your pleasure.
Reddit stories! Today I fucked up by trying to hold in a dump until I got back to my dorm. So like I said, this took place about 4 years ago during my freshman year at college. At the time, I was living in the dorms, mine being located in one of the corners of the campus. The campus is fairly large, so whenever I took the bus off campus to go shopping and whatnot, it took a good 10 to 15 minutes to get from the bus terminal back to my dorm. On this particular day, I had decided to take the bus and go to the grocery store after class. This class had ended in the early evening, so by the time I finished shopping and stepped out of the store, it was already dark. As I waited for the bus to arrive, I felt the rumblings of dissent in my gut, warning me that my bowels needed to be emptied soon. I had felt a slight pressure earlier in class, but it hadn't felt too urgent, so I ignored it. Laden with grocery bags in both hands and my backpack on my back, I resolved in my mind to hold out until I got back to my dorm, a 20 to 30 minute wait. Stopping to go now was inconvenient with all the stuff I was carrying, and I had held out longer before. Upon arriving at campus, I stepped off the bus and began to trek back to my dorm. The journey was more arduous than usual since I was burdened with my groceries and the growing pressure in my gut. I usually prefer to take a dump in my own toilet, or at least one few people use, like the one in my dorm, but I will use public restrooms if necessary. As I walked, it was quickly becoming one of those situations. Some buildings at the university are locked up at a certain time, so I knew some restrooms would not be available. As I approached the halfway point between the bus terminal and my dorm, I abandoned all hope of being able to make it back to the dorm restroom in time and frantically looked around for the nearest restroom that was likely to be open at this time. I spotted lights spilling out from a restroom up ahead along my route, and I made my way to the entrance as quickly as safely possible. By this point, the gravity of the situation was clear and pressing. Sheer willpower was holding back the torrent of destruction. Entering the bathroom, I saw that the handicap stall was available, a plus for me since I was lugging my groceries and backpack. I even see that the toilet seat appears to be clean and free of piss, a blessing even under normal circumstances. It would seem that I have averted disaster and relief is but seconds and a few feet away. However, as I waddled into the stall, I felt an immediate shift in my gut, and the release of the immense pressure that had been building up came a few seconds earlier than I wanted it to. Despair descended instantly, accompanied by frustration and embarrassment. I stood there, but 4 feet away from the toilet, still holding my grocery bags. I had actually shit my pants. Not wanting to soil myself any more than I already had, I quickly cast aside my bags and backpack and waddled over to the toilet and gingerly started to remove my pants. I felt some of the... Jesus Christ. I felt some of the poop near the bottom of one of my pant legs, and I carefully removed my jeans and underwear, trying to avoid smearing any poop on my legs. In removing and tossing them aside, I got some poop on the tile floor as well. I decided to focus on finishing pooping and deal with the cleanup as I was clear of aftershocks. Once I was done, I surveyed the mess. I had attempted to clean up the poop on the floor. It was unfair to leave that to the night custodian. I also had to figure out how I was going to get back to my dorm since my pants and underwear were both soiled. The only person I could confide in to bring me clean clothes was my roommate and best friend. I messaged him asking me to bring me underwear and shorts, and to hurry. Meanwhile, I would try and clean up the best I could with just paper towels, since the one-ply crap they tried to pass as toilet paper wouldn't be very effective. I then realized that I had to go out of the stall to the paper towel dispenser, naked, from the waist down. There was nobody else in the restroom when I arrived, and I hadn't heard anyone come in so far. I figured there was a low chance of anyone coming in since it was already past 8 p.m., so I decided to chance quickly stepping out of the stall to grab a bunch of paper towels. I managed to do so without anyone walking in to see a half-naked guy vigorously ripping paper towels from the dispenser at night. The paper towels did a meh job of cleaning up the poop on the floor. It was still obvious that some jackass had pooped on the floor 4 feet away from the toilet. I checked to see if my friend was on his way yet with my clean clothes, but to my dismay, he hadn't even seen the message yet. At that point, I remembered that he had rehearsal for the wind ensemble he was a part of that night and wouldn't be done until around 9:30. It was a bit after 8:30 at this point, and I yelled out in frustration. It wasn't bad enough that I had shit my pants right before getting to the toilet, but now I had to wait over an hour before my friend even saw my message, and probably another 20 minutes before I actually got the clothes. With nothing to do but wait, I sat back down on the toilet and pulled out my phone to pass the time on Facebook until help arrived. Around 9 p.m., I finally got a reply from my friend saying rehearsal had finished early and he was heading back to the dorm to get my clothes. That was the best news I had heard all day, and the prospect of not having to wait so much longer was indeed of some relief after all I had been through. Almost 20 minutes later, I heard someone walk in and my friend called out my name. I answered with the voice of a man who had been defeated and shamed, and took the clothes he passed to me under the stall door. After I changed, I emptied one of my grocery bags into my backpack and put my poopy clothes in the bag. I looked back and silently apologized to the custodial staff who was going to have to deal with my shit. I then stepped out of the stall and looked at my friend with the same look Frodo gave Gandalf after waking up at the end of the Return of the King. As we walked back to the dorm, I told him my tale. He didn't give me a hard time about it then, but later on he'd bring it up every now and then for a good laugh. I went to a bathroom near our dorm building to wash my clothes off in a sink before tossing them in the washer. Relieved that the ordeal was over, I went to sleep that night with the resolve to never undermine nature's call again. I've had close calls since then, but the devastation of that night has not been repeated to this day.